Hi friends, strangers, internet. My name is EmilyHanhan. I love colorful makeup and colorful language. I'm here today with a chatty get ready with me where I want to talk about humility. In particular, the concept of humility for fat people or forcing humility on fat people. I also am going to be showing off some products that were sent to me for free from YesStyle. I haven't used any of these products on my face before, so I don't know how they're gonna actually perform. But if anything does interest you, I do have a link, an affiliate code with YesStyle. I have a couple of liquid blushers from Juicy Pang. I also have a CASHAPP eyeshadow bar palette. It actually has some pretty sparkly shadows from the looks of it in there. And then a mascara, a brow gel, and a lip product. So I generally don't talk about makeup a lot in these chatty get ready with me's, but if any of the products that I used, particularly from YesStyle, interest you, I will have them linked down below. There's no pressure, nothing like that. It's just a nice way for me to play with makeup and not have to financially front having new things to play with. So hopefully y'all won't mind that. So I wanted to talk about this idea of humility being pushed upon fat people. So this whole concept was inspired by a comment that I received, and there's no hate towards the person that left the comment, but it made me think about this topic quite a lot, and it made me want to talk about it. I'm using a lot of my favorite primer. Now, whenever I have a reaction to something, I try to like look it up and re-familiarize myself with it before jumping to like major thoughts about the thing. And I did that with the word humility, and that might seem, I don't know, does it seem silly or extreme or something? But for me, sometimes I think it's easy to get an idea of what something is in our head and not really like take time to figure out if that's actually what it is, or if we've let kind of our brain manipulate ourselves into feeling like it's something different. But humility itself, I actually took some notes and like wrote things down. A couple of the parts of the definition included having a low estimate of importance, not proud, having a spirit of deference, and ranking low in hierarchy. The idea of humility, the core of it, really ties together with this thing that gets told to quite a lot of fat people. Now, a lot of my more intimate experiences in terms of friendships, in terms of deeper conversations, have been with fat people who are non-binary or are femme or feminine. So I don't have a particular point of reference for what I would say, you know, cis men who are fat. So this is my perspective coming through personal experience and kind of reflections of things that have happened to friends and acquaintances. We are trained, for those of us in particular that have been fat from a very young age, we are trained to be smaller, to take up less space. It's in like every essence of a lot of our beings. Like, and it's difficult to say sometimes it's difficult to talk about things like this because I don't want to sit here and be like, oh, you know, everyone is trash, everyone's family training is trash, everyone is fat phobic, all that, but it's kind of the truth. In terms of how we get socialized and the things that we hear, I feel like for a lot of us, like I said, especially when we had fatness in our life from a young age, there is just this constant conversation about making yourself smaller, whether it's physically, whether it's, you know, personality wise. Like, there's just these layers of training that we go through where we are just constantly told that, you know, we are too much. And it sounds really cliche to be like, be too much, you know, take up space, but it's like one of the things that I have worked on a lot as I've gotten older, and it's something that I talk to a lot of other fat people about. The idea of humility as well, the idea of deferring to someone. If you are not fat, or if you are, I'm gonna say if you're newly fat or whatever, if you're not fat, you might not notice, particularly if you are thin. I feel like, because there are people that are kind of in between that might notice things like this more. But if you are not fat, you might not notice the fact that everything gets deferred. A lot of things get deferred to thin people, whether it's fashion, whether it's health, fitness, food, beauty. Thin people are the celebrated people. I'm not saying they're the trendsetters, because I think that trend setting comes from a lot of different marginalized groups, but they don't get their respect. It doesn't, you know, things get taken and copied and watered down, and then they get celebrated, you know, in these more consumable ways. But for fat people, we are constantly either forcefully or subtly being put in a position of deferring to thin people. Whether it's, you know, depending on your workplace, just being ignored and having thin people get the final say on things, or whether it's, you know, not really being able to speak up as a fat person when you're hungry because of the shame that comes with wanting food as a fat person. Like, that's a really fucked up thing, but that happens for so many of us. You know, we can't just say, hey, I'm hungry, I'm gonna, you know, like if you're out and about with a group of friends, there is so much shame in being like, hey, I'm hungry, like I want to stop in here and grab a slice of pizza. Because eating with other people, that's cool. Eating by yourself as the only fat person in a group, no, that's not cool. That's not permitted, that's not allowed. So yeah, in many situations in our lives, I feel like we are put in positions where we have to defer to smaller bodies, thinner bodies, however you want to phrase that. And the definition of humility also included ranking low in hierarchies. in a very similar concept, like, fat people and fat bodies are already ranking low in hierarchy, in the hierarchy of, you know, what society deems as beautiful or attractive. Again, what fashion deems as like worthy of making clothes for. And there is, it's such a more complex ranking because race comes into play and gender comes into play. And so I know for me as a fat femme that, like, I do have a higher ranking in the world than other people that are just as fat or fatter than I. Because there's the other layer of ranking hierarchy. You know, if you are a fat person but you are smaller, you have much more, what's the word? Like, you get more attention paid to you, you have more clothing options, you have less disrespect placed on your body, you're less likely to be viewed as disgusting or on your way to your deathbed. And I'm not saying that people that are smaller and still fat don't receive that kind of bullshit, but the extreme in which they receive it is different. It's different than as your body gets bigger. And that's, like I said, that's the other part of the hierarchy. When you can't find clothes in the, you know, department stores, in the Target and Walmarts of the world, like, that's a different level of, I mean, kind of disrespect and I don't know, but like, it's a different level of difficulty to live your life. Like, for me, I am lucky enough that I can go, like I said, to a Target or a Macy's or something like that, and generally I can find something in the plus size section. But there are lots and lots of people that can only shop online, and even once they go online, they can only shop in very specific stores. And if you've never had that issue, if you've never struggled with that, you might not understand just how difficult and damaging that can be, how challenging it can make life, and how mentally difficult it can be to deal with. But just know that, like, there is already lower ranking in the hierarchy of the world just by being a fat person. And so the idea of telling fat people, oh, you need to be more humble, like, that's, we're gonna keep going and keep talking about it, but it's just very frustrating to see people say things like that. And to me, when you say something like that to basically a stranger, I don't care about parasocial relationships right now, to, let's say, okay, maybe not a full stranger, but at the most you could call me an acquaintance, and that you couldn't, not the person that said that, but if somebody who knew me well came into my comments and said something like that, at most you're telling an acquaintance this thing. Okay, for what reason? Like, in what good does being more humble do for me when I've already spent a lifetime or a decade or however long you've been fat and dealing with, you know, these feelings and these and having family or friends or partners saying shitty things to you about your fat body? Like, what good does this do to say this to a fat person? I don't know. I don't know what good this does. But then thinking about pride and that whole layer of telling somebody to be more humble is telling them to not be proud. We are literally told, like, so many fat people are told that they are not a true human until they have lost X amount of weight, until they fit into this size, until they've worked out for this long consistently. So we're basically always told life is not worth living, and you're not really living your life until you shrink your body. The fact that people will then say, on top of that, be humble, be humble. It's like, I'm just trying to respect myself. I'm trying to, like, appreciate what I do in the world. I'm trying to appreciate the friend that I am, the employee that I am, like, fat people are just trying to appreciate how they are, you know, a good partner, how they're a good friend, how they're a good mother or son, or like, we are trying to see value in ourselves when our body is not in the place that everyone tells us it needs to be valued. Like, so many people that are fat live their life being like, well, when I lose X amount of weight, then I'll go on that vacation that I have dreamt about. When I lose Y amount of weight, then I'll pursue a romantic partner. When I drop down to this size, then I'm worth buying clothes that make me feel better about myself. Or when I'm X size, then I deserve to feed myself consistently. Until then, I have to starve myself because this is all I'm worth. We are just always, so many of us are just always trying to feel just decent. Not even great about ourselves, just decent. So this concept of that we need humility, of all of the groups of people of the world that you could say need humility, P.S. no one needs humility. Everyone deserves to feel damn good about themselves. And
I was gonna get into but let's just get into the next part.
Fat people have been told their entire life, their entire fat existence, that humility is the only thing that they are worthy of. That they are not worthy of self-love, they are not worthy of self-respect, they are not worthy of feeling good, of liking their body, of liking themselves, of clothes that make them happy, of eating when they're hungry and when they need sustenance. We are just fed toxic thing after toxic thing after toxic thing, and I refuse to sit back and let people just tell fat people humility is the best thing that they can do for themselves, because what we actually need is fat vanity. Now, I think the reason why the comment stuck with me so much and felt like such a good thing to talk about right now is that just recently, in the last couple of months, I have discovered a creator by the name of Tracy Cox is their name, but their handle on Instagram and TikTok is Sparkle Jam. Tracy has one TikTok in general, or one TikTok in particular, where they're talking about fat vanity and celebrating the fat selfie, celebrating the fat body, and the power that is in that video, the strength and the power is so inspiring to me, because I just felt like it was this embodiment of the kind of confidence, or at least fake it till you make it confidence, that fat people deserve. The fact that Tracy celebrates fat bodies and is telling fat people that your body is worthy of being celebrated in photos, in videos, like I fill my social media with this kind of stuff, like with these kinds of creators and with these kinds of fat activists, fat liberationist, just these kind of amazing fat people. But even for me, seeing that TikTok, I don't remember, I can't count how many times I've watched it, but just, it was like, oh, this is it. This is, I don't know if it was 60 seconds or shorter, but it was a minute of just what I feel like every fat person, including myself, just needed to hear and deserves to hear all of the time. Like, I have rewatched that video, I've gone back to it, I adore it, and I am really thankful to find people like that, because they continue to remind me that I am worth more, and that when people are telling fat people to get smaller, to shrink yourself, to not be so proud of your fat body, to not be so, you know, loud about your fatness, that you have people, and Sparkle Jams is one of just many, but they're just a current new love. But when you have people that are like, no, fuck all of that, love yourself loudly, be yourself loudly, it brings me just so much joy. And something that it reminds me of, because so this concept of like, be more humble, stay humble, blah blah blah, however it's being framed out on this particular day, and by this day I mean whatever day some hater comes into your life, whether they're family, friends, or an internet commenter, like fuck the haters. But anyway, listening to the Fat Vanity message just made me, it reminded me, there's this thought that carries me through anytime I'm dealing with internal fat hate or external fat hatred. It's the idea that for a lot of people that are hateful on the internet, or just hateful in real life, there are now fat people in the world, and there have always been, but I feel like we're growing in population. There are fat people on this planet that are saying, fuck your game, we're not playing your game. The game is rigged, we're not gonna play it, fuck off. The thing that I've realized is that people that are still playing the game, there are people that are still playing this game. They are stuck in the game. And the game is self-hatred. The game is making yourself smaller. The game is food restriction. The game is diet culture. The game is fitness culture. They are stuck in the game. They're stuck in there. And all of a sudden they see people outside the field living their life, not stuck in the game, seemingly happy. And rather than taking the time to be like, huh, how could I get myself out of this game? They react in anger and hatred towards those that are outside of the game. And they want to spit their vitriol towards us and say, how fucking dare you? How dare you flaunt your joy? How dare you break the rules and just like live your life? They think we should be punished for breaking the rules rather than using that moment for themselves to perhaps think, wait, do I even want to be in this game right now? But it's such a strong brainwashing, in my opinion. Diet culture and self-hatred is so strong that it gets really hard to like constructively look at the situation. That's why I think it's much easier to just sit there and hate on, in particular, fat people who have left diet culture and are off doing their own damn thing. Instead of being mad at the culture, they're mad at the people. And fat people, you don't have to stand for that. You don't have to. Now I know some people will say, well, you know, should we rescue them? Should we try to help them? If you have the energy for that, go for it. I don't have the energy for that. Because I've taken the time myself, and yes, other people have helped me, but I've taken time to figure things out with guidance from other people that I guess here's my thinking is that I know a lot of people that are stuck in that diet culture mindset that are really not actually ready to leave. They want to complain about it and, you know, do all the things, but their leaving takes a lot. It's a lot of work. Leaving takes a lot of looking at yourself. It takes a lot of looking at your relationships, the people that you're closest with, because leaving diet culture can mean leaving partners, friends, family behind. And I'm not saying again that those friends or family are not worth saving, but sometimes you have to make choices, and sometimes the choices are, you know, saving yourself. Sometimes you can go back and save these other people later, but not always. So I just think a lot about the way we weaponize fat phobia and self-hatred, and how so many of us don't even see that that our feelings are being weaponized, that, you know, that we're being manipulated and kind of destroyed in this process of like the way in which people are going around trying to destroy fat people. It's like you're destroying yourself as well, you know? You're a fat person and you're destroying yourself in this process. It's actually a little deeper than I expected to get in terms of my feelings. Quick little mini review of the palette. The mattes are very powdery. The two that are on the left side are basically the same color, which is unfortunate. The shimmers and pressed glitters are pretty, but they're really firmly pressed, so they're not the easiest to pick up. But overall, like, I'm for a little compact 6-pan, I don't hate it. I like it. We'll see if I reach for it, but let's put on some mascara. My favorite teeny, like these teeny tiny brushes. They're so good.
Fat vanity. Fat vanity is some of the highest magic, and I'm gonna tell you why. I really do mean vanity, V-A-N-I-T-Y, being vain, being obsessed with yourself and your beauty and your body and your style and your talent and your energy and your aura. Do you know how many people in my lifetime have told me that my body's inherently wrong? Something tragic, something to be fixed at the earliest possible moment so that I might still have a chance to lead a happy life. How could you know unless you're fat? Any fat person who makes it over into vanity is a miracle. Fat people don't ever apologize or feel shallow for taking a selfie. Your loving self-focus is a powerful inversion of the self-obsession you've been encouraged to have. One that makes you obsess out of fear, one that makes you punish and control your body. You deserve fat vanity.
There are a lot of people out there that like to frame, you need to lose weight, your fatness is disgusting, your fat body is not acceptable, you are not valid of respect, or you don't deserve good things in your life because you need to lose, because your health, you're not healthy. And so you being fat equals you not being healthy, equals you don't deserve all of these, like, things that are very human and that are very basic human rights to me. While I am well aware that criticism comes to everyone, everyone gets criticized, and quite often criticism can help us be better people. Something like stay humble, or you need to be more humble, or you know, get humility in your life, or however people want to frame it. That's not constructive criticism. For better and for worse, our lives revolve around ourselves. And I generally think it's for better. So when you tell me and other fat people that we don't deserve that we don't deserve to focus on ourselves, that we don't deserve to be proud of ourselves, that we don't deserve to take up the space that we take up, I rebuke that. I rebuke that thought. I rebuke that energy. I don't want that energy entering into any fat person's life, and especially not my own. And I think that if you want to help a fat person, somebody that you love, somebody that you care about, if you truly want to help them, think about what it is you want out of that. If your reason for helping them is for them to lose weight, to be healthier, to take up less space, that's not help. And for any fat person that's watching, if people are threatened by you, let them be threatened. Let them be afraid of your magic, of your energy, of your spirit, of your beauty, of your uniqueness. And whether or not you actually believe that you deserve to be as proud of yourself, as into yourself, as self-absorbed, as motherfucking vain as you are right now, with practice you will get to that point and you'll be unstoppable. So I think that's it for my fat vanity and fat humility soapbox for today. This got like more intense at the end emotionally than I expected, but what's new around these parts? If you liked any of the makeup that I used on camera, a lot of it will be linked below, but again, don't feel any pressure to try anything out or make any purchases. My initial thoughts are I'm really liking the brow gel, especially the color. Same with the mascara. The little tiny brush is magic for me. The palette I'm like 50-50 on. This blush also I'm not sure about. The lip product I like though. And the blush and other things I need to use more often, more than one time on different foundation and stuff. But if you're interested in any of it, I will have it linked, or if you just want to go shop YesStyle for other things, you can also use my link. Okay, I'm gonna stop being a shill. I'm not a shill, but I feel weird all of a sudden. So if you enjoyed this video, if you like colorful makeup and lots of opinions and cute fat babes in general, I hope you will subscribe, share this video out with a fat friend, tell a fat person you love them, tell yourself you love yourself. You deserve it. Stay safe, my friends. And I will hopefully see you again real soon. Bye-bye.